Pranakasha live stream. Hey folks, it's Matt at Pranakasha Productions. Today we're talking with Eric Rosenberger, who is in the production department at Warner Brothers and now is a resident of Las Vegas.
Yes.
So good to have you, Eric.
Good to have you, or good to see you. How are you?
Yeah, doing great. Now, I believe that we met on Facebook, but we've never actually met in person in Vegas, right?
Correct.
Okay, because it's entirely possible we could have, because I've been there twice now for the Star Trek conventions.
I only went to one, and that was by accident.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was kind of funny. My brother was here in town visiting, and you remember the old Star Trek 4D thing they had at the Hilton years ago?
No.
It was kind of you sit in a box and you go on a wild roller coaster ride with the Star Trek theme in front of you. It was Borg invasion or something like that. And
cool.
You get on the ride and you fly through Las Vegas and everything else. Anyway, so my brother was in town he wanted to do that because it was last weekend that was going to be available. Okay. So we showed up. I had to use the restroom. So I went in the restroom while my brother decided to go to the craps table. And when I came out of the craps table, came out of the restroom, he was standing at the craps table and a 7-foot tall Klingon was playing craps with him. So
yeah, that's a Star Trek convention, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently that was the last one at Hilton. They've done several at the Rio now.
Yeah, so I went to this year. They did it at Bally's. And but I went to the previous year too, where they did it at the Rio, and apparently they're going to be at the Rio again next year too.
That's if the Rio is still owned by Caesars, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think the only reason they didn't do it at the Rio this year was because it was being renovated. I think that was the official story.
Yeah, they're getting that property ready to be sold here in town.
Oh, the Rio's getting sold?
Yeah, there's no secret that Caesars wants to get rid of the Rio property.
And then what, turn it into a parking lot or something, or what?
Whoever buys it can do with it what they want to do with it.
Okay.
This is another side note. The Tropicana just got sold yesterday.
Okay. Okay, back to the Rio. So when is this sale going to happen?
Nobody knows. It's been on sale for several years now.
Oh, okay.
So, but if somebody comes along and says, I want to buy the property, they can do that. The Oakland A's, actually, of the Major League Baseball, are in town looking at property across town. They want to move here to Las Vegas because apparently they have an issue with Oakland right now. So who knows what's going to end up happening.
So that's why your Facebook page says the Las Vegas Raiders?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I've been. I
thought I missed something.
No, I've been a Raiders fan all my life. I was actually a Raiders fan back when they were in Los Angeles and back when I lived there.
Oh, okay.
So I made the joke that they kind of followed me all around because I lived in
why
Los
wouldn't
Angeles and moved to Northern California, and they moved back to Oakland, and then I moved out here to Las Vegas, and they came to Las Vegas as well. So
okay. Well, it's funny because I recently, within the past couple of weeks, I was down in LA.
Yeah.
And I went to this restaurant. It was like this kind of fancy gala that I got invited to at the Smokehouse restaurant. You know where that is?
Oh yeah, right across the street from Warner Brothers. I used to eat the garlic toast every night that I worked at Warner Brothers. It's the best garlic bread in the world.
Unfortunately, even though people told me to get the garlic bread, we didn't get any. Because we were kind of served the menu that was pretty structured, because it was like it was one of those things where they took you into one of those back rooms that holds like maybe 20 people.
Yeah.
And then we had like a host, and then we were sort of treated sort of like VIP guests. And so for some reason we didn't get garlic toast.
Well, I got good news for you. I figured out a hack for making their garlic toast at home for myself because I live out in Las Vegas and I can't get it any other way.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you. Maybe you can put it in notes if you want to.
Okay. I will. Yeah. Oh, you mean right here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll do that. Yeah. Cool.
Okay. So,
wow. Okay. Yeah. I'm still recovering from because my Vegas trip was pretty recent. It was just like the last week of August.
yeah.
Okay. So now we're talking, that's been at least a month, right?
Yeah. I mean, we're in the first week
now.
of October now. So,
yeah. But I'm still, I mean, I booked people to do interviews from there that I'm still following up with now. I'm still pretty full.
Well, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing those. So,
yeah.
I mean, so who you got coming in?
Well, my big A-lister that I want to have is Tim Russ.
Oh, cool.
Who played Tuvok on Star Trek Voyager. And we've been sending emails back and forth, trying to set up a day for it. And I'm about to go on vacation for a week, so I'm going to be in Frankenmuth, Michigan. So there's going to be a slight hiatus.
Yeah, you get off of one vacation only to go on another one.
Yeah.
That's life.
Yeah. Well, I can say technically Vegas was technically a business trip, except for one small caveat.
What
which
was
is that my YouTube channel actually loses money. So I can call it a business in sort of broad terms.
Yeah, well, you got to recoup it somehow.
Yeah.
So
anyway, write it off for taxes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
If you can. So I used to work in the poker industry, and so going into a casino, I could write off everything I did in casino as a business expense, and that includes losing money.
So did you have a table? Like were you a dealer or what did you do?
No. I used to report on poker tournaments. I did all the big ones. In fact, there were $10,000 buy-in one-day tournaments that I used to cover. I was the only one they allowed to cover those.
Cool.
So.
And then where did you publish it?
I had a website, and so it was all on my own website coverage. The website's no longer up. I let that one go, but it was fun. I mean, it was kind of a change of pace. So
I assume you're also a poker player.
I occasionally play. I got a chance to talk to some of the best players in the world and seek their advice, and so I mean, I'm not a losing player. Let's just put it that way.
That's good.
So
I am, unfortunately, based on I used to play penny poker with my buddies in high school.
Yeah.
And I'd usually be about 25 to 50 cents down by the end of the night.
Well, I mean, you win some, you lose some. And out here in Las Vegas, an okay night is when you're only down $100.
$100 a night, that's not bad. I mean, you can blow $100 on 5 drinks.
Yeah. Yeah, you really can. I mean, there are some places in town, the drinks are really, really good, but they're also really, really expensive.
Yeah, I noticed that on the Strip.
Yeah.
So
if you want to get to know Vegas, you have to leave the Strip, and prices are a little bit, or no, not a little bit, a lot cheaper off the Strip.
Yeah, that's what everybody tells me. It's like half the price practically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what us locals do. Is we bring in whatever we're going to get in the Strip casinos, we bring it with us because it costs us practically nothing compared to what we would get if we were actually served in the casino, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's the biz.
Yeah.
That's capitalism for you, damn it.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm digging your Orville thing in front of you.
Oh
What
yeah.
is
So I
that?
got this, which is an actual model, and this is the box
Okay.
that it came in.
Okay.
And then if you look close, this is an Orville badge right here.
Yeah, that's the new, or no, that's season 2, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's the old one. I do have a new badge. Well, newish because it's got the stars in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
There.
Yeah. We can see the stars. Do you know
Yeah.
why they added the stars this year? It had something to do with like the union or something.
I've heard different stories on that one. But I don't know if there is an official story besides that maybe it looks cooler. Because
Yeah.
the whole show got an upgrade.
Yeah, I
So
remember they
yeah.
did all the teaser trailers and they had all the old badges and then they digitally upgraded the badges on the teaser trailers.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, did you hear they actually fixed an error in the last season?
I did. Do you
Yeah,
happen to follow Talking the Orville with JP of
of course
Egotastic Fun Time?
of course I do. I've been following him for practically 4 or 5 years now. When he first started the channel to Orville stuff.
Aha! Now I remember how we found each other.
Yeah.
I think I saw you in a chat for Talking the
Yes.
Orville, and then for whatever reason, I hopped over to Facebook and found you on Facebook. And then I
Uh,
said something like "Salutations, Egopanion" or something like "Fellow Egopanion."
yeah.
Yeah,
I remember we were talking in a chat. It
yeah,
was during one of the Orville sessions, live review sessions or something.
yeah.
So, and JP is actually getting married in the next month out here.
He sure is.
So, I haven't gotten my invite yet, but
Neither have I, and I'm so pissed.
yeah,
But I don't think he's inviting anybody besides his family.
no, but I mean, I
Yeah.
saw that episode where he made the announcement with his fiance. They looked so happy together.
Was
I
that the
mean,
one in the car?
yeah,
Yeah, I saw that one too.
yeah. I mean, the way they were looking at each other, you can tell they're totally in love.
Jessica is cool. Actually, you know what? I have the honor of having met both JP and Jessica in person in
Oh,
LA.
really?
Yeah, and it was
Oh,
really, what the funny thing was is I was all psyched to hang out with JP at this bar kind of near where Jay Lee was going to do his piano recital.
oh,
And but you know what happened?
what's that?
Me and Jessica totally hit it off. And me and
Didn't
her launched
JP's
into this hour-long conversation where JP and then this other guy named Mark, who was the guy with the Tesla who was driving them around, they sort of sat there as fly on the walls and just observed our conversation.
Yeah, she
So
really seems like she has a good head on her shoulders.
she's really cool, and she's very intelligent.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I really like her. I think I totally approve of her
yeah.
as a mate for JP.
I
I kind of
remember.
call her Lady Jessica, from like Dune.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember when he had broken up with his previous girlfriend, and he was so down in the dumps about that.
I miss
And it was
that.
like, yeah, um, he really, I mean, he kind of was in the relationship because he felt obligated. It seemed
Hmm.
like, but when it was over, it was like kind of on again, off again. Kind of they were seeing. It was really weird.
Okay.
And so him finally finding somebody that's on his same wave is really cool.
Yeah, and he also she has a son who's like I think 13, maybe
Okay.
14 now.
Yeah, I think
Anyways, but he, as far as I can tell, he and his basically his stepson now get along quite well.
that. I mean,
So
I couldn't
yeah,
see him not getting along well with a 13-year-old boy. He
yeah,
has that great kind of humor.
yeah,
So here it
yeah,
is, all love fest for JP, but
yeah. JP is a good guy.
he really
Yeah,
is. he deserves the happiness he's got. So
He does. Yeah. Well, I'm speaking of JP. JP and I have a Zoom call coming up.
oh,
But it's
nice.
not an interview like this. It's actually a Zoom shoot.
Oh,
Because he plays a character in my Star Trek fan series.
yeah, I've seen him promoting his appearance in your shows.
Yeah. Yeah. And we decided to call it Egotastic Trek based on
Nice.
Egotastic Fun Time.
Yeah.
So I play the Star Trek captain, Captain Hardinger. Then there's my uniform back there.
Yeah.
And he plays the Orville captain, Captain JT, aka Teddy Bear Powell.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, he does a good job. You do a good job. They're fun to watch.
Yeah, it's a blast. My biggest complaint with myself is that it's been an entire year and I'm still not done with episode 4. But I'm trying really hard to get that one completed so I can publish it. It's getting close.
And here you are just shooting the breeze with me. So you're wasting time on it.
What can we do? Well, but the thing is, what I discovered is that I can do an interview like this, right?
Yeah.
I get 60 to 90 minutes of really interesting content. And 60 or 90 minutes plus maybe another hour worth of editing. And then publish it the next day. Or I can spend a year doing a Star Trek fan series that's all green screens for a 45-minute show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to put your priority where it's at. So
yeah. So basically, I do both.
Yeah.
So well, I still do the show that takes forever to do. That'll probably get about the same amount of views as our interview right now. You know.
Yeah. I know.
I took like 100 times more work, or 1,000 times more work.
That's the same thing that happened when I was doing the poker reporting. Is like, for instance, I would spend all day long doing a report about a poker tournament. It would get, I don't know, a couple thousand views and everything. And then I did one thing on a whim during the World Series of Poker. A couple of the production people went behind the scenes and decided to do kind of a Star Wars lightsaber battle behind the scenes. And so I shot that. I got more views on that than I got on anything, and I did that in about 5 minutes.
Yep. I have a YouTube video that I did before I did interviews. It was basically this still picture of a combination of Darth Vader and Elvis singing "Love Me Tender." It took me an hour to do it.
Yeah.
And it got tons of views.
Yeah.
And I was God dang it. I just did this silly, crazy thing. It was just this weird idea I had, and I just did it on a whim, the hell of it. And then it ends up getting way more views than anything else, even though I spent hardly any time on it at all.
Yeah. And that's the way things go on the internet. It's just, you cannot predict anything on there.
Yeah.
I mean, so who knows? I mean, all of a sudden, some unknown guy from Vegas might give you a whole bunch of views, and I have no idea why that would be me. But
well, have you seen any UFOs lately?
Actually, I saw several ones a few years ago, but they turned out to be no. I mean, I took pictures of them and everything, and it turned out that they were some lanterns for a Asian funeral or something.
Oh, dang it! I know what those are.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are those balloon lantern things that they had. Well, they did those in Mulan. Did you ever see that movie?
Nope. I was way over that age limit.
Oh. Well, I don't know. You can still watch animated films whenever you want.
Oh, no, I realize that. I just, unfortunately, after working in Hollywood, my tastes have changed.
Oh, okay. So now what do you watch?
I watch the Orville. I watch old episodes of Star Trek Next Generation.
Okay.
I like Dune, things like that. But I also like dramas. I'm not really into the whole comic book fantasy thing that's going on nowadays.
Okay.
All that. Um, so I enjoyed watching that kind of. I'm telling you, I'm a sucker for the kind of live PD type of thing going on nowadays.
Live PD, what's that?
It's where they stick a camera behind a cop and they watch him run his duties, and they have several.
Oh, okay.
And it's like cops, but live.
Yeah,
And
a reality show. Oh, it's
Yeah.
actually live? It's not even
It's a-
pre-recorded?
yeah, it's actually live.
Wow,
And so
that's
you never,
gutsy.
yeah, you never know what you're going to watch every week, and every moment to moment, you don't know what you're going to see. That's what's interesting about it, is because you never know what you're going to see, and people are stupid on this program, and they just flaunt their stupidity in front of the world to see. I
Okay,
mean,
so are these Vegas? Vegas
No,
cops, or
it's-
where are they?
no, they're all across the country. Some are in South Carolina, some are in
Interesting.
Florida. In fact, one department is over the hill here in Pahrump, Nevada.
Huh.
They used to have a Northern California one, but they've got an Illinois one, they've got a New York one, and what they do is they cross cut between them as situations develop, and then so you're watching one situation and you get shoved over to another situation.
Ah.
So and they go back and forth.
So
And
they
then
do have some control over what they're showing you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And they're definitely on a delay because it'll be dark here in Vegas and they'll be showing stuff going on in Pahrump and it's pure daylight still. So I mean
Oh, so it's not really live. It's still pre-recorded.
it's not really pre-recorded in that it's all shot in a live aspect, but they pre-record it sort of because they have to have a 7-second delay in case somebody does something they shouldn't do on or they can't show on television.
Okay. So, yeah, okay. Got it.
So they kind of build
Interesting.
that. Yeah, they build that 7 seconds in by doing the kind of 45 minutes or hour delay. So
Oh, okay.
it's the new form of television. I mean, they couldn't have done this kind of thing 20 years ago for sure.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
one of
That's
the
cool.
products of all the electronics that they have now. So
Yeah. Well, back to the Warner Brothers lot.
yeah,
So I got there early to the smokehouse because I wanted to figure out how to get there, and so I was just starting to explore around. So I just walked across the street because the Warner Brothers lot, as you know, was this giant gated complex, literally right across the street from the smokehouse. So I
yeah.
went over there and I started chatting with the security guards. And I said, hey, like, can people tour this place or something? And they're like, yeah, sure. Just go to XYZ and buy a ticket and you can go on a tour. So
Are
the
you
next
talking
day I
about-
did the tour.
You're talking about Warner Brothers, not
Yeah.
this house. Okay.
Warner Brothers. Yeah.
Yeah.
In LA.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
place I used to work at.
Yeah. So I did the tour where they take you around in the kind of glorified golf cart and
Oh,
show you
that's-
all the exterior props and stuff. It was really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I mean, driving around that place, everybody's in a small golf cart. We had our own for our camera department. And it was fun because you get to drive around like you own the place. And here I was in probably one of the meccas of the entire world, just running around like I was normal. I can still remember the one time. I remember the only time I actually turned my head to look at a woman again on that lot turned out to be when Jennifer Aniston was getting into Brad Pitt's car back when they were dating.
Wow.
Yeah.
We did happen to go by the Friends, where the Friends was shot. And of course, now they have a gift shop that's all dressed up like the Friends set, too.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I remember that being it was on the far side of the lot in the corner studio on that
Yeah.
same lane we were on. We were on the far, what direction was it? The far west side of the lot.
Okay. So
So
what was your so you had a particular sound stage that you were pretty much
no,
worked
no,
in?
I was working on all the television shows because they were still actually shot on film, and what
Okay.
my job was to actually fill up the magazines that the film was shot on. So I would take these big 2,000 foot rolls that were about that size and
Okay.
take them out of the cans that they came in, put them in the mags, close them up, all in absolute darkness because you can't flash the film.
Huh.
And I can tell you a few stories where mistakes did happen and people got really, really scared. In fact, we had to shut down the actually Friends, the Millennium episode, the one where I guess Ross and his sister Courtney Cox
Hmm.
were dancing on the set for the Millennium with Dick Clark. That got shut down because somebody actually accidentally turned on the lights while we were changing mags, and all the
Uh,
mags got slammed shut. And they had to they after they were done for the night, or should have been done for the night. All of the production crew, the cast, everybody had to wait until after 1 o'clock in the morning so that the film could get rushed through process just to make sure that the damage didn't totally obliterate the entire scene.
oh, so if it had it, then they would have had to stay and redo it.
They were
Hmm.
staying, and they would have had to redo it. But in those
So
days,
what do you? So you're saying when you change a magazine, you turn off all the lights on the set so everyone's in
no, no,
darkness?
no, no. We're in a completely different room
Oh, okay.
in a different building.
Okay.
So what would happen is we would run to the set and drop off the newly loaded magazines, and we'd pick up the old ones that they've already shot, bring them back to our department, and then we would end up pulling the film out and sending it off to the labs.
Oh, okay.
So they don't do
Interesting.
that anymore
Yeah, it's
because
all
they're all
digital.
yeah,
Yeah.
and which is also something that people can actually see. Your viewers can actually see when they watch a show like The Walking Dead or all
Hmm.
these shows that are now shot where you can't even watch them in the afternoon because it's so dark. That's the only reason it can be dark is because it's shot in digital, which processes the light completely different than a film did.
Right.
With film, we had to overlight things
Right.
and just get the film to pick up what was going on. But
Right.
nowadays, they're going way overboard with all the darkness and the creepy vibe and everything else, just only because they can.
Yeah. Plus, also now, I mean, when you're editing it, you have total control with your software. You can change the brightness and the contrast and everything when you're doing the
Yeah.
edit too.
There was an old
Yeah.
saying in Hollywood. It was always a joke. We'll fix it in post, which basically means we know there's an error in here, but we'll deal with it later. Nowadays, with everything being digital, it's much easier to be able to do that in actuality. In fact, that's actually the way they produce most of the stuff you see anymore.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
um,
Interesting. So you
yeah.
mentioned that there was a certain controversial topic that you wanted to bring up. Maybe we should
Okay.
go there.
Okay, well, I hope your viewers are ready to hang on for this one.
All right,
Um,
everybody sit down. Make
um,
sure that you've already uh, gone to the bathroom and
okay,
properly voided.
so as I have said, I don't know if this is going to be in the previous part of the interview or not, but my great grandfather was actually the cop in The Kid, which I sent you a photo, so you're probably showing it right now
Okay,
to the
let's show the
viewers.
photo.
Yeah. Now that's my
Okay.
great grandfather standing behind Charlie Chaplin. So our family has been in Hollywood for years. He used to work uh, in vaudeville and all that stuff. So in fact, my grandmother used to be proud of the fact that one picture of him had him and his wife, my great grandfather or great grandmother, build over some other, I can't remember who it was, but billed over like Fred Astaire or something
Oh, cool.
for a vaudeville thing. But anyway, so he played the cop and the kid, which everybody seems to know the photograph. But there are other photographs that have not lasted the proper amount of time because as we're aware of right now, we're living in a time where people are trying to correct history to make it palatable for us nowadays for our standards. But back in those days, it was something that they just took for granted and they didn't even bother worrying about it. So anyway, I've got some photographs that have never seen the light of day before, but will shock the hell out of you. So these were on my grandfather or grandmother's walls as we were growing up. So when she passed, I made sure that I hung on to them because, again, cancel culture is destroying anything that even remotely can look like this anymore. And
okay, let's see him. Okay.
This is from a film in the 19 teens, back a silent film. And as you can see, there's blackface going on, which you cannot see on anything anymore. And the guy up here is my great grandfather.
Okay.
He was one of the biggest blackface actors of all time.
Okay.
And he was in fact, he was in an episode of Our Gang, which we now think of as Little Rascals. Right. He was in blackface in an episode of that now you can't even find it anymore. It doesn't exist because Hollywood is cleaning out their history of doing the wrong things by trying to do what they're doing nowadays.
Pretend they didn't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, I have another photo here.
Okay.
And you ever heard of Al Jolson?
I don't think so.
He was an old blackface actor as well.
Okay.
Anyway, this photo.
It's hard. It's the fractions. Okay.
Okay. This photo is him performing with my great-grandfather in the background in pure blackface.
Okay.
And I wish I could.
So at the time, they had blackface because they didn't actually want to hire actual black actors, so they just had white people pretend they were black. Was that the deal, or why did they do it?
It was okay back then. I mean, because the big stars, they had a completely different idea of racism back then. They didn't think it was racist. They thought they were just hiring the best actors they could. So I mean, obviously we know nowadays that was completely wrong, but but that's the kind of thing that your viewers and you will never see again. You'll never see those particular photos. And that's the reason why I grabbed them, because I wanted to at least have some place to show history of what was actually real life in
going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I have one more, and this is not a blackface one, but this requires a bit of a story.
Okay, let's see. Okay, well now what are we seeing?
This is Charlie Chaplin standing with a doll, and this is actually the back of the house that my great grandfather had built years ago. And what happened was he back then it was the 19 teens or something like that, and so they bought a plot of land. He threw a party in the backyard, grilled steaks, had beer and everything else, and invited the Warner Brothers crew to come over to his place, and they erected the entire house in a day.
Wow. Was it a full house or was it just a false front?
No, it was a full house. They did not mess around back then. I mean, when they built something, and the thing still lasted until my grandmother passed away in 2010.
Wow.
So it was old and creaky.
It had plumbing and everything?
It had everything. I mean, like I said, they
Wow.
weren't messing around back then because those were the guys that had to build that kind of stuff, spur of the moment when the director said, "Go ahead and do that. I need that tomorrow." So, I mean, that's the kind
Wow.
of, yeah. So anyway, so what happened was in that photo, Charlie Chaplin was absolutely smashed.
Okay.
And a couple of the guys thought it would be funny to give him one of the Charlie Chaplin dolls that they found in a local pawn shop or something like that.
Okay.
So that's why he's looking at it kind of with a strange face, like, what the hell is
Right.
that? And
Yeah.
so that's the story that I was told. I'm
Okay.
going to believe it because nobody else can tell me any different.
Though it looks like he kind of posed like he was in character,
Yeah.
doing a Charlie Chaplin kind of move.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's the thing about a lot of actors is you put a camera on them and they switch into actor mode and they
Yeah.
just do it without even thinking.
Yeah.
So,
That's cool.
yeah.
Yeah. One thing that I noticed about the tour of Warner Brothers that stayed with me is I didn't know that it was an open lot, so I didn't know that they had a standing policy that other studios could use their stuff, like Paramount or, whatever, MGM could come in and schedule time to use some of the Warner Brothers sets and sound stages and so on. I didn't know that.
It's like that throughout the industry.
Oh, really?
Everybody's switching things and moving around. Panasonic used to be on every set, but they had a whole different department. We used to deal with them exclusively in the camera department, but
Okay.
we had, I mean, so every person, director, producer, actor, they have their preferred things.
Mm-hmm.
And so you might not be able to get their preferred thing at one place, but you can get it in another. But so you end up swapping a bunch of stuff across, like you ever see the Roseanne show? You remember
Yeah.
the blanket they had wrapped over the sofa they had in the front room?
Mm.
The reason why I'm asking you that is you'll see that particular blanket in a whole host of different shows off of, on various networks by various studios. So you'll find certain things that just kind of they become bigger than what they are. So
Right. Well, the biggest thing that stuck in my mind is early on in the golf cart tour of the Warner Brothers lot, we got to this place where there was this fake lagoon with a little cabin at the edge of it. And the tour guide said, well, this is, if you ever see any movie or any TV show that's got a lagoon in it, this is it.
yeah. And it's that way. There are certain places in LA that are the same thing. There's a park down in LA proper where they used to shoot a whole bunch of lagoon stuff, and they used to actually shoot some of the Gilligan's Island stuff down there as well. And meanwhile, 60 miles down the road is the bay where Gilligan and the skipper were going out of at the beginning of the show.
Oh, in the very opening credits.
Yeah. So, yeah.
You mean they didn't really shoot it in Hawaii?
Yeah, I know. But
how can they do that to us?
They
lied.
Yeah, that's where they would go to shoot that kind of thing.
There ought to be a law.
Fakery. What's that?
There ought to be a law.
Yeah, well,
it should have said underneath, it should have said shot in California.
It probably did.
It probably did in the final credits somewhere.
Yeah. Nobody ever sits around and reads the credits except if you're in Hollywood. I'll tell you what, you go to Hollywood to watch a movie, they will sit there from the moment the lights go down till the moment the lights come up. They will watch everything.
Yep. Well, now people do because you never know if there's going to be a little Easter egg right at the end.
Yeah, but I'm talking about 90s and early 2000s before the whole Marvel thing. Yeah. The industry folks always watched everything because they knew people that actually worked on it.
So they want to see their friend's name up.
Yeah.
Scrolling.
Yeah, or they could watch it and see their friend's name and who they didn't know they worked on it. They could maybe approach their friends and ask them questions about what were you doing here? What were you thinking? In fact, I remember talking to one guy at the at a party once, saying I watched an old Quentin Tarantino film called Destiny Turns on the Radio, and he
Okay.
said, "Oh yeah, I worked on that. What'd you think about the purple palm tree?" And I couldn't remember the purple palm tree, but nowadays, every time I watch the movie, I look at that purple palm tree and I think of him. So it's kind of a weird association type of thing.
Is he the guy who spray painted it purple?
He's the art director that actually probably probably. Did you ever see that movie?
No, I don't think I did.
It's one of those movies that Quentin Tarantino did that nobody has ever really taken advantage of. But there are a whole cast of big names in that film.
Okay.
So you should seek it out. I think I have a digital copy on Amazon Prime. I think I got it.
Okay. I have Amazon Prime, so that means I could probably search for it.
You could, yeah. But it's not one of those that's free on Amazon Prime. You got to buy it for like $6 or $7.
Okay.
But that's a movie. Funnily enough, it's actually based here in Las Vegas. But a lot of the scenes that were shot, especially the scenes in the hotel that they were staying in, not the casino hotel, those were actually shot out in the San Fernando Valley in a hotel out there. So again, fakery is still going on.
Yeah. Well, okay. So besides the lagoon, I mean, then later on, we started driving through these replicas of city streets and neighborhoods and stuff. And then they're rattling off like, see, this building, this movie was in that movie, 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 like 10 different movies. And then they would dress it up a little bit for each one to make it look slightly different.
Yeah.
You know,
and they all look like New York for some reason.
Yeah.
But I remember one time before I actually got employed by Warner Brothers, I was kind of shadowing around a camera person for, I think it was Carolina in the City that week. And we were on the Sony lot. And I walked around the corner. And
Where is that?
That's east of town, or on the east side of town.
Okay.
But anyway, so I walked around the corner and I ran into them shooting one of the most famous scenes in Seinfeld, where he's running, what's his name, Kramer or whatever his name is running down the block, and he was running down the block and he was running back. And so it turned out to be a famous scene, and I just happened to be there at the right place at the right time to see them actually shooting it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
My life, having grown up in Hollywood, I've met so many people that I would never have met, and you get this kind of weird sense of normalcy with it. Well,
how did you get into the industry? How did you get yourself in there?
Well, again, nepotism. I grew up knowing people, people around me, and they were in the industry. And so they brought me in because they knew my family was in the industry.
Straight out of high school or like?
No, I went to college. I went to 4-year. I actually took 5 years to go to a 4-year college.
Okay.
But I got I got a what's called a media arts degree. It was one of the first degrees of its nature in the state of California. It actually, on the diploma, it says it says internet on the diploma. I think it may be the first diploma that actually includes that word on it. So it's a degree in media arts.
Okay.
Bachelor's.
Whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a piece of paper.
I know. And the thing is I grew up my entire life thinking that's the goal of my life, and then I got it. I found out it doesn't mean anything.
It's just, it's like the maybe it might be the key to get you through the door, but then after that you'd walk through the door, and now you gotta
Yeah, I keep
whatever you're
being
going to
told
create.
that, and I'll tell you what. I mean, knowing people and having people know you, that's the real key.
Right.
And being a
I
nice
agree.
guy and, just having a reputation, that's the real key to life in general.
Yeah. Well, that's another reason why I do these interviews, because like every person I interview, by the time I'm done, I have a new buddy. And so I'm doing these interviews like once or twice a week, so I'm developing quite an extensive network already. It's fun.
I mean,
Plus, I just like talking to people, so it's fun.
That's the thing. As long as it's fun, keep doing it, because life's too short to focus on negative stuff.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, everybody has a really interesting story to tell.
Well,
it's just everybody has an interesting story to tell.
Yeah. I remember years ago, I was taking care of my grandmother before she passed. And I was maybe, I don't know, 25 or so. And I said, I want to be a writer. And she looked at me square in the eyes and said, what you write now, you'll never understand in 25 years. And in 25 years, you'll never understand. You'll never be able to understand today what you'll know in 25 years. And she was right. It was a kind of a weird kind of analogy, but I was looking back on it recently, and I realized there's so many subtle things that you pick up on through life, through knowing folks, through interactions and everything else, that you'll never get without those interactions.
It's true.
So
yeah, that's really fun. So now that you live in Vegas, so you said, I mean, I know a lot of local people stay away from the Strip because it's so expensive, but I mean, do you still go there just to kind of just walk the streets and stuff?
We used to, but then they started charging for parking, and that's kept a lot of us away because we don't want to go down there for 3 to 4 hours and pay $20-25 to park our car. It used to be free, so we kind of while we are in the process of accepting that it's going to cost us money to go down there, we used to go down there and spend hours for free.
And you can't take a bus or anything like that?
Here in town, most people are kind of that California attitude of I'll drive myself.
Okay. How about like Lyft? How much would a Lyft or an Uber be to get down there?
Probably more than $25.
Oh, okay.
I think the last time I took a Uber or Lyft or one of those to the airport, which is actually on the Strip, it cost me like $40 or $50.
Okay. So, maybe they jack up those prices too. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I got friends that are Lyft drivers and they quit because they were making enough money, but meanwhile they were charging outrageous fees. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Was that before they got tips, or were they already getting tips?
No, that was for the whole, all told. I mean,
because I know for a while, I mean, now I think both Lyft and Uber has a thing where you can include the tip.
Yeah.
In your fare, but before it didn't have that.
I really don't know how that whole thing works. All I know is when they were first coming out here to Las Vegas, the taxi cab authority were having cows about them because they knew they were gonna be taking a bite out of their own business.
Oh yeah.
And the problem was the taxi drivers here in town. One of the biggest scams taxi drivers do here in town is what they call long hauling passengers. So if you're ever coming into town and get a taxi cab and they take you through that long tunnel, you're getting long hauled and you're getting screwed.
In other words, they purposely take a longer route so they can charge more?
Correct. And so every once in a while, the cops make a big show about how they're watching them and pulling them over, and don't do that. But it's about once every 2 years. And then they just go back to doing it because they know that for the next 6 months, it'll be a safe route.
Yeah. Well, there's lots of stories like that.
Yeah, I mean, Las Vegas
Well,
is.
remember Wells Fargo Bank?
Oh, I got screwed by them years ago. Yes, I
They got away with
do.
so much shit.
Yeah,
And I think they paid like $1 billion in fines.
something like that.
But
All
the
I
thing
know
is
is,
that about those guys, you know what they do? Of course, they just calculate it. They're like, they get
yeah,
out their spreadsheet and they're like, well, we can stop doing it, but then we'll lose $2 billion. Or we can keep doing this and we'll get fined $1 billion, but we'll still make $1 billion. So let's just keep doing it.
yeah, exactly. It's profits in the end. All I know,
Yeah.
I used to have an account with them, and when I switched, I didn't make any more money. The money just went to the bank, and every month, all of a sudden, I had a mysterious extra $100.
Oh, it went the other way for you. Huh.
No, no, I'm saying every month with Wells Fargo, I would lose a hundred
Oh,
bucks.
lose $100.
Yeah, and so when I switched to a place that wasn't taking that extra all those fees and everything else out, I all of a sudden $100 a month just seemed to come out of nowhere.
Nice.
So
But then you blew it on the blackjack table.
I don't think I played blackjack more than maybe 2 or 3 times since I moved out here 15 years ago.
Okay, good guy.
Yeah. Well, blackjack just isn't my thing. I mean, I'll do it when friends are in town and they absolutely need me to sit at the table, but I'd rather just stand behind them and enjoy it from there. I don't need to put my money down.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I'm going to take a drink of water.
All right, I'll take a drink of kombucha.
I've heard about that. I've never actually tasted it. What's it taste like?
You either love it or you hate it. There's no in between. Because what it is, it's fermented tea. So it tastes kind of like beer, actually. But it comes in all these different flavors. So if you like the basic idea of it, which is kind of this tangy, really fizzy, naturally fizzy drink.
Does it have any alcohol in it?
It has a tiny bit.
Okay.
But it's not, I mean, they can just sell it off the shelf. You don't have to be 21 to buy it. And then I like it because one thing it does is it kind of quenches your appetite, even though it doesn't have a lot of calories. Like this thing is like 50 calories, this entire bottle.
Can you make it at home yourself?
You can. I never have. I just buy these guys. I like this brand. GTS Kombucha.
Okay. Well, the reason why I ask is because I found out a few years ago that I have an allergy to corn. And so I have to pretty much avoid all pre-packaged and pre-made stuff.
Yeah, so you can't drink any pop.
No, I can't.
No corn syrup for you.
And no cornstarch and no corn anything else. In fact, I recently started a what do they call it? Substack called cornfree.substack.com, where I'm kind of giving recipes for folks that are interested in doing things that don't involve corn. And I'm also writing other articles about where corn is and what corn is being processed to do and things like that. So it's kind of a fun little side project for me. And in case anybody is interested in kind of looking into that, they can go there and look
Link in the description.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this is weird for me because I'm not used to seeing somebody go like this and have nothing there yet.
Yeah, we just have to pretend, and then when I do the editing process, it magically shows up.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but it's the raw feed type of thing that it's fun to watch.
Well, what's even more interesting is when I interview somebody and we're going to watch a clip.
Yeah.
I'll be like, okay, folks, so let's just watch this clip right here. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, we'll pretend like we watched the clip, right? And then we're both like, oh, that was so good. I really liked how that was really, the thing you did there was really cool,
Yeah,
Even though we
that's
hadn't watched it, we just were pretending that we'd watched it.
yeah, and that's what most of the talk shows actually do.
Yeah.
They'll say, here's a clip for the show that the actor coming out is on. Watch this, enjoy. And the audience sits there, and then they said, we're back, and the audience claps. Yeah. So, at least
Loved it, man. Yeah. That was so good.
So, although I'm sure that in recent years that is actually they can put those things up on the television monitors, so people are actually being able to watch. But that wasn't the way it used to be.
Well, actually, what I do sometimes, I don't have it, but sometimes I'll have my iPad right here.
Yeah.
And I actually will watch it and maybe react to it. But then when I edit it, I, of course, put in a better version in the edit, but I have to sync the sound up.
Oh, yeah.
Or replace the sound or whatever. But, all that kind of stuff.
That's the part that people don't understand about putting these things together is how much. Yeah, I mean, I used to have a podcast. It was a half hour upon final release, but it would take me a full day of just editing the audio alone to get a 2-hour discussion crammed down to a 30-minute podcast.
Well, you know what my solution to that is?
Yeah, don't edit.
Leave it as 2 hours, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, occasionally I'll edit stuff, but it's usually because one of us said something that was either too controversial or maybe the guest maybe revealed something that was too personal and they changed their mind about spreading it over the whole world.
Yeah.
Or I said something stupid or I dropped a couple F-bombs or something that I didn't really want to.
Yeah, I totally get that. I mean, but that's the thing about editing is you got to have that fine line of what to leave in and what to dump.
Well, the great thing about YouTube is there's no hard limit of how long your show is now. So, and there's different philosophies. Some people say, like YouTube officially kind of coaches you to keep your videos shorter. Yeah. Because the algorithm will like you better. So some people are afraid to do long shows like this. But I just said, screw it. I'll do it. I don't care if I lose views. And as far as I can tell, when I watch the analytics, I get the same number of views and the same number of new subscribers, whether I have short shows or long shows. And I like to do long shows because then it can be more in depth and not just be superficial because you have to rush through.
Oh, yeah. And that's the thing about it is you got to do what you're comfortable with first and foremost. To hell with the whatever the algorithms say. Yeah. Because I keep seeing people losing their mind when the YouTube changes their algorithms. And so now they have to do something they don't want to do. Yeah. I mean, that's in fact what was happening with Egotastic Fun Times was they were going along and then YouTube changed their algorithms and JP had to totally switch around what he was doing.
Yeah, he was chasing the algorithm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I have, of course, I don't do that. I'm going to just do my show how I want. And because also that's why I have 14,000 subscribers instead of 140,000, but still, I mean, I have a friend who her show took off on a certain thing. What she started doing, she did a couple reactions. She's this really talented, very well-trained opera singer and opera coach. Yeah. She's also really pretty, and she's very cute, and she can do all these really cute expressions and stuff. And she's very charming. And she started doing reaction videos where she would listen to a pop song or whatever. She would react to it, and then she would analyze it. Yeah. And they were really popular. So now that's all she does on her channel all the time now. And she's got like 200,000 subscribers because she found that niche and then she just focused right in on it and kept doing it.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
Thing is, I could never do that because I'd get bored. I still want to do all the stuff that I'm actually interested in,
But you know what? The reality is some people are focused on making sure they have as many subscribers as they can because that translates to money coming in for them to be able to buy dinner for tonight and put a roof over their
True.
head. So,
whereas guys like me have a day job, which is kind of nice because, like, if my channel tanks, doesn't matter. My ego might get bruised a little, but it's not like I'm going to starve.
Well, I'll tell you what. There are a lot of people that would just give their right arm for 14,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was going to say something a little lower down the body. So.
Yeah, I wonder what that was.
The left, never mind. Anyway.
My left nut. Let's just say it, man.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're talking about you don't want to put something out there that people might get offended by.
I'd give my left wing nut.
I got a wing nut right here.
Oh, see, we're on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now, usually I go 90 minutes, but today I have to catch a flight in about an hour or so. So I got to cut it kind of short.
No, that's totally cool. I mean, I normally, when I used to do interviews, I used to do them in 5 minutes.
Okay.
So, I mean, this is completely.
Slam bam.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was follow where the train of thought of the person you're talking to is and just go where it leads.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Rosenberger. Okay.
So, anyway, so thank you for having me.
We kind of do the C-SPAN approach over here.
Okay.
We're we can watch the admin people at the Senate shuffle papers for 5 minutes.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many hours I watched of C-SPAN just showing that overhead shot with nobody doing anything, just walking around and talking in small groups. Yeah. Nobody up doing speeches, but
well, it's like watching a fishbowl with a bunch of fish in it.
Yeah, there's something fascinating to it. I had a friend of mine, my college roommate, who actually went back to Hollywood or back to Washington, and actually was one of those Senate pages.
DC, cool.
Yeah, so I've heard some stories about what happens behind the cameras and behind the closed doors, but I can't.
You signed an NDA.
I didn't sign an NDA, but my buddy would not appreciate me divulging those conversations.
Your buddy isn't an alien, is he?
No, he's not. Those are.
Is he a Men in Black?
Those are up north in Area 51.
Okay.
So, which I really don't believe, but I mean, there's enough people out there who say it's absolutely true. So more power to them if they believe it.
Well, I know a guy who swears up and down that he worked at Area 51 and he had a top secret clearance and he saw all kinds of stuff.
Of course.
And he agreed to be on my channel, though we still haven't done our interview yet. But so I don't know. I haven't heard all the details yet. We were going to do it on the air, as it were.
Yeah. Well, funny thing about it is, it used to be send us a photograph and we'll believe it when we see it. Nowadays, you can fake a photograph of Thor throwing a hammer. So
you can fake a video.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's hard to know. Yeah. Well, anyhow, Mr. Rosenberger, you know this, Celia, right? Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper. And what's the second line? I can't remember that.
Well, there isn't a second line that I know of. Besides, and also with you.
And also with you.
But that's that's the previous Vatican I, I guess. Vatican II wrecked that. Now we're supposed to say, live long and prosper and with your spirit.
Oh, okay. No, I seem to recall there was some sort of a live long and prosper, and then Sarek said something else between Spock and Sarek.
Oh.
Sorry.
Now I got to go watch it again. Journey to Babel.
I think this was actually one of the movies. Maybe Star Trek 4.
Okay, 4 is the whales.
Yeah.
I don't remember Sarek being in 4. Was he in the beginning?
He was in the beginning. He was in the beginning and at the end in San Francisco in the future
Oh,
when the big wall of glass blew in. He was one of the victims of that.
oh. Well, I've watched Star Trek 4 several times, but now I blocked it out. Now I got to watch
Yeah.
it again.
Of course, now you have something to have a goal for. So,
My life has a purpose again.
yeah. So,
Cool. All right. Okay. So then once again, live long and prosper, my friend Eric Rosenberger. So next time I'm in Vegas, I'll send you a Facebook post to let you know that I'm coming, or a Facebook message to let you know I'm coming.
absolutely, you need to do
We'll
that.
have to hang out.
I got friends coming in from literally the other side of the world that send me notes. So you, from where you're at, you're obligated to do that.
Yep. I'm on the hook now. All right, sir.
Okay,
Till next
take care.
time.
Thank you very
Cool.
much.
All right. So I'm going on vacation. So.
Pranakasha production. Fantastic creations emerging spontaneously from the space of life.
For the benefit of all beings everywhere.
We gotta